The question is to do with people who can do seemingly superhuman things. So, and the one fellow that could do superhuman things, he said it was breath work that was changing things within his body and shutting down parts of his brain and activating other parts of his brain. And that's what he had all the scientists doing, studying his brain, how he could do these amazing feats with his body. So what are we to make of this? Well, first, the point that I want to make is that a human consciousness is not the body. It is associated with the body, but it is not the body. So if this particular consciousness is able to make a body do incredible human feats, well, that's certainly notable. I mean, a human body, if it's healthy and it's able to do fun things, then that's enjoyable for you. I looked at this particular person's face, and they had the face of an older, like a grandfatherly visage. So he hasn't got to the point where he was able to completely regenerate the body. So I mean, it's a fantastic body. It can do amazing things, but he hasn't regenerated it, at least in the face. So, where am I going with this? Well, as I began, I said, you are not the body. You are a consciousness that's associated with the body. And that's the biggest mistake people have, that they are the body. And even when you know that you're not the body, you still feel the body. You feel, if the body is not well, you feel sick. So, I mean, I kind of think of some of these people that have these great enlightenment experiences where they have a feeling that they are not the body, they are everything. They are the universe. These transcendent experiences. There are great stories of even beyond, the physical humans that can do superhuman things. Like the story of the beings that can manifest and de-manifest bodies. Babaji, for example. Great magicians that can do incredible things. Babaji can... Well, I haven't seen Babaji. These are just stories for girls and boys. But, I don't think you need to be limited just to a human vessel. Still, it would be nice to be able to teleport yourself and not be reliant on cars and airplanes and rocket ships. You could just teleport yourself from here to there. And I think that's what the science fiction is there to teach us, like teleportation beams and things, is that, they use technology, and it helps to get your mind around the idea that maybe you don't need the technology at all. If you think of the Q in Star Trek, or the Traveler in Star Trek, various other beings that could do these kind of things, and no apparent technology, just using consciousness. And that's where the idea goes, is that the consciousness itself can do these things. I'm no musician, I'm no magician, and I'm no superhuman. So, where am I going with this? Well, I don't know. Maybe I've come to a standstill on this point. Do I think I can make this body regenerate? No. Because the voice that you hear is an ego mind. It is a separate mind from all that is. So what we're really talking about is a God mind that can do everything. And that is what I believe is actually what is going on. We have a lot of separate minds that we call human minds, human personalities, living in this holographic reality, and they have the belief that they are doers, that they are making the body walk and talk, and that they are, carpenters and plumbers and doctors and lawyers, and they believe that they make decisions. They believe that they are doers. And this, in the traditional Sanskrit, or ancient, I suppose it's ancient Hindu Sanskrit, the ancient rishis said, this is all because we live in the great illusion that they called Maya, M-A-Y-A. And what is Maya here for? Well, I suppose it's to play in the Maya, once you know that that's what it is. And mostly at this point in time, it's to help educate other people that they are living in the Maya, the illusion that they are separate from everything else. And on this planet, the illusion is incredibly strong. Because most people that hear this lecture are going to say it's absolutely balderdash, and this person is insane. But that is Maya, and if you study Maya, that's what most teachers of Maya are going to tell you, and that's what they've written down over the centuries, is that it is an incredibly good illusion. And who can create such a great illusion? Only the God mind. So, other words that people use for God mind are the source field, the source. They're just words. Different cultures have different words for this. And, in your societies, you've got different ideas about what this God mind is all about. I mean, a lot of people, if they think of God, they think of maybe like the Simpsons God. It's like a God in the form of a human, an old gray-haired man, or with a gray beard or something. One time they thought that God lived up in the sky because they thought that heaven was up in the sky. And I think that's where, I don't know, people got these ideas that aliens were angels or something. I mean, you get these flights of fancy as to what this all means. But if you are a personality and you start letting go of your ego needs, what are ego needs? Basically, ego needs. Well, the idea that you are a separate thing and that you need to dominate everything else. Domination is probably one of the biggest ego needs. I mean, there's still body needs, and you'll still have to feed the body until you get to a certain point. I'm not there, but some people can apparently live on air alone, the prana in the air, the chi in the air. I mean, these are just words and stories. Until you actually experience it, then, you know, there's stories for girls and boys. So, I mean, what is the goal? In some metaphysical traditions, it's reunion with the God mind, because the feeling is that you've been separated from the God mind. You know, the Course in Miracles said that it was because you rejected the Creator, and the guilt of it all is wrapped up in it all. That's the Course in Miracles version of it. I think it's rather stupid, but, you know, for certain purposes, useful, because it starts getting people to let go of their ego. But, you know, some of the ideas that the mind is only, or the body is only here as a communication device to communicate to other separated minds, to get them to the point where they start letting go of the idea that they're separate minds and that everything is connected. I mean, it's fun to go snowboarding, it's fun to go sailing, it's fun to go surfing, it's fun to use these bodies to have enjoyable experiences. So, you know, if the Course in Miracles says that the body is only good for communication, I think it's absolutely wrong. But, you know, as far as it goes, the communication of it all, educating other beings, is very good. But, you know, there's an old Islamic proverb that said a man with only one book is an idiot, and that is absolutely true. So, you know, if you only live by the Course in Miracles, then you're an idiot. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Now, what else do I want to talk about? Well, how do we get to reunite with the God mind? Well, the secret is that you're not detached from the God mind. You only think you are. Because the God mind has created this, and I know some people say, well, it's, you know, extraterrestrials created this matrix-like reality. Well, maybe they did. Maybe they had their hands in it. But in the end, there is only one source, and it flows through many apparent sources. And creates this incredible reality that we experience. But behind the masks of everything you see, all the people you see, first you have the egos that think that they are the bodies and they are the personalities. Well, they are the personalities. But behind the personalities, looking behind the personalities and through the personalities, is the source, the God mind. Now, why does God mind create these apparent sources of great harm and destruction? I tried to probe this in one of my books, and even now I don't get a good answer. The experience, I suppose, the experience of it all, and I have a very hard time with it, my personality, because I hate to see beings in pain and suffering. So, I mean, couldn't you just read a book on pain and suffering, or feel pain and suffering one time and then, avoid all those kind of things? Well, it doesn't seem to be the way things are in this world. The answer is the beings, the personalities, don't know what they're doing. They don't know that they are all part and parcel of the same thing. And why does the God mind allow them this disbelief to play in the Maya? No, it's not just for something to do, and it's not just for learning. It is for the absolute to be known in this relative world. What does that mean? It's very difficult with words to transmit into any kind of intelligence what that means. Absolute is unity consciousness. One is everything. Relative world, one is perhaps personality. And in this world, the personality often believes that it is the body. So, is it to create a desire to be one with the absolute? Not necessarily. How do you get into the source mind? Well, you're always connected to the source mind. You have to just let go of the stumbling blocks between you and the source mind being one. And as I said before, these are generally known as the ego mind things. And these are basically what we consider the lower emotions to start with: animalistic behavior, domination of others, the want to possess everything, primarily. And then, the other emotions that come from not having possession of everything and domination of everyone are anger, sorrow, depression, apathy. Although these emotions can also come about because even if you don't have a will to dominate others and to possess everything, if you do run into these other ones, these other personalities that are working very hard to dominate everyone else and possess everything, it's very hard to be in the same space as one of these kind of beings. These are the kind of beings that we might call the evil emperor in Star Wars. So, that is where we are in this world at the present time. And, there's always a desire to get the hell away from these evil emperors, or depose them, or educate them so they let go of these things. How do you do it in a world of 8 billion humans? You don't. You're not a doer, even though you think you do it, because the illusion of the Maya is that you are doing something, and It creates intense desires to change things. I mean, you're taught when you're a child, if you don't like something, you either put up with it or you work to change it. And this is from the lower levels of consciousness that believes that you're separate from the whole. So does the great source mind have some kind of plan to help us out? Yes. Yes. And some people say, well, you've just got to have faith and trust. Is that true? Yes. And if you don't have faith and trust because your faith and trust has been shattered time and time and again, well, you have to keep dropping the past. You have to keep dropping previous experiences and be in the now moment. Be right now. And, you know, it's you watching your thoughts and the memories that come up to you and saying to yourself, well, this is a memory. This is a thought, this is a feeling, and even though I perceive these things, they are not me, and I can observe them. I can be the silent observer. And once you get to the point where this is solidly known to you, so it's totally realized to you that you are not your thinking, you are not your feelings, and you are not your memories. You can keep watching. Keep watching and keep seeing. And you know what you basically learn from that is that you have zero control. Unlike some teachers that say, well, you do have some control over your environment. It's apparent control. It is apparent in the Maya that you have control. But, you know, what words I'm saying right now, I don't call them my words. They are the words that are given to me. Some people in the ancient past said it was the muse that gave you the words. But I'm just going to go right back to the root and say it's Source that gives me the words to communicate to all of you. But the words I was given for you, just to reiterate, are that the Source does have a plan to save us from the evil emperors of the world and the universe and the multiverse. So don't be too concerned. But what you need to be concerned with is to do your meditation and really get it realized in you that you are not your body, that you are not your thoughts, and that you are not your feelings. Even though these things are there for you to observe and feel, and, you know, for most of us, a lot of these things are not pleasant. That is perhaps the hardest challenge of all, is even when you know these things are not you, you can't stop the experience of them. You can't run away from it. So, holding space is another thing that you do. Holding space is just knowing that everything that's going on with your body and your experience, and letting go of attachment to the memories, attachment to the desire to achieve things. You know, the desire to be a leader even. The desire to accomplish things. Does that mean you won't accomplish things? No. Once you've let go of the will to dominate and the will to achieve things, then the things that you do are going to be the things that the source wants done through you. And they're not egoic things. Too much. Why do I say too much? Well, I mean, you have to still appear human among the humans. I mean, if you show up and you're a Jesus kind of person and you're performing incredible miracles, well, I'm reminded of the book Illusions by Richard Bach, where his character Donald Shimoda, who flew around in a biplane, was able to do incredible miracles like Jesus, and what happened to him was he was swarmed. And he wanted to teach the people how to do the miracles, and they didn't want to be taught how to do these things. They just want the miracles done. And so they were basically using him as the miracle worker, and they didn't want to do it themselves. So that is the problem if you show up and you're an avatar, what they call, like a Jesus, or that they can do these kind of things. It causes too many problems. So that's why we don't say Jesus is in the world. At least I haven't. But no one says there's not secret Jesuses around that are doing things, but just not showing them to you directly. In other words, things happen, but you don't know that there is one of these Jesus kind of beings around. Do you need a Jesus being for something to happen miraculously? Yes, you do. I was going to think no, but the answer I got was yes, you do need a Jesus person around in order for these things to make themselves happen in this world. Why is that? It's not given to me to say. So, what I will use inductive reasoning and say, there are Jesus beings around. And maybe you don't know who they are, maybe they're in disguise and they're acting like normal human beings. But they are around. So, expect to see miracles. What kind of miracles? Well, it's not given for me to say what exactly miracles you're going to see and when. But if you let go of your egoic desires, you're much more likely to see these miracles happen sooner rather than later. I'm your narrator, and when I'm narrating, I'm Harry Weaver.